Really, I resigned. I'm Farhad, and up until recently, I was a core surgical trainee. I've been a doctor for nearly 7 years. For the last year or so, I formally started a training program that's at the very beginning of the very, very long path to become a surgeon. Let's start at the beginning. So ever since about halfway through med school, I really wanted to be a surgeon. I like the fact that you get to do something with your hands and you can fix something immediately. It's practical, there's no fluff, it's straight to the point. I like to think I've got good hand-eye coordination. It just looked like fun. But you see, surgery has created this artificial competitiveness. They need more surgeons, but there aren't enough jobs, so they can make positions competitive. I like competition, so it didn't really bother me. And by the time I left med school, my CV was pretty good. I wasn't concerned that I was going to have any issues, and well, I didn't. It's a nice little humble brag to start the video. It's not even that humble. This is exactly why surgery suits me. But I left. Surgery requires a single-minded focus. If you really value getting good at the job, then, and I mean being an excellent surgeon, and learning those skills with your hands. And because training in the UK is so shit, and there's so much service provision, you end up having to show commitment outside of your contracted hours. You end up coming in on days off, staying late after night shifts, and all those kinds of things. I do think that's changing. To be honest, I was fortunate in the place I worked. I didn't really need to do that. When life happens, you get married, you have kids. The surgical way of life isn't very appealing. To me, it becomes just a job. And to be honest, I began to resent it. I'm either always on call or on nights. And it then made you enjoy your time in the theatre, the thing that's meant to be fun, less fun. And to be honest, 3 statements can summarise surgical training in the UK. Long hours, pay, quality of life. So why do people do it? I guess you have to love it enough. You have to love the operating enough for everything else to be okay. In fact, there's actually been some research into this. A significant proportion of them said not achieving work-life balance and not being able to spend enough time with family. That's quite a sad thing. I liked the operating, I just didn't love it. Not enough to miss spending time away at home. Definitely not enough to justify the pennies I was bringing, especially for the hours that I work. There's a reason we're all striking. It's not just that pay's eroded so much, but also the working conditions are an absolute joke. For the 6th largest health economy, our health system is a disgrace. Core surgical training has been quite intense. I've lost weight, I've not been able to train like I used to. Some of my friends were telling me when they look back at the pictures that they have of themselves at the beginning of this year, how much they've aged. Not that I would say I found it stressful, it's just that the lifestyle is pretty shit. In the NHS, I think there are very few career options that are worthwhile. If you're in the same position at me and you were thinking about leaving, then here are some tips that might help you. Once you've tried something and you feel like you've had enough experience at it, you've given it a good go, don't feel like you don't have to stick to it. I've spoken to so many people who felt that they were too far in to be able to leave. I don't think that's the case. I know people who've left very late into their careers and are very happy and are doing very well. I don't think you're ever too deep to leave. In the NHS, unless you really love something, unless you really love a particular branch of medicine and you don't want to leave the country and do it somewhere else, then, and you can justify all the you'll have to put up with, then do it. But if that's not you, then the only smart option in the UK is to be a GP. There's something seriously wrong with the system if a skilled surgeon that takes 8 years of training earns the same as a GP. And that's not to say that GPs aren't skilled or that they're paid too much, not at all. It's just that there's clear discrepancy here. Like if someone is spending 8 years plus a PhD plus everything else to go down this road of surgery and you still can make that same money in 3 years, then to be honest, that's what you should do. I'm not saying GP is easy. Every specialty has got its difficulties and its problems. I'm going to do my time to become a GP and then I'm going to leave the country. For some reason, the UK training program is really highly regarded outside. I don't know why. Ask yourself what you want to do in your free time. What do you value in life? What is it that you want to do? What's important to you? And lastly, as a medic, you've got options outside of medicine. Not to say that other sectors or industries are easy, not at all. And I think it's really easy to think that, oh, if you leave, you can never come back. The door's always open to come back. And I've recently come to this realization. I may well leave medicine entirely, but the brown boy in me likes to have a secure backup. So GP first. If you want an insight into what some of the on-call shifts are like, click here.